Welcome to Sleep with Myth. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Tonight we drift beyond time, where gods dream and stories remember their light. Before the first thunder broke, before the fire met the frost, there was only the long breath of the gods, the hum of eternity. And within that stillness, a dream began to tremble. The world tree, Yggdrasil, whispered through its roots. It spoke of endings. It spoke of the silence after song. Odin heard it first, the wind that carried no omen, only the weight of knowing. He stood upon the edge of Asgard, and for the first time, he did not look to the horizon for wisdom, but inward, to the shadow that had always followed him. For even gods, he thought, are bound to time's final turning. The ravens, Hugin and Munin, flew across the 9 realms, but their cries were hollow, their wings heavy with unspoken dread. Every creature beneath the stars felt it, the slow unraveling of the divine dream. In the halls of Valhalla, warriors ceased their laughter. The mead grew bitter on their tongues. They raised their cups not to victory, but remembrance. Thor gazed into the storm, and for a moment, even he hesitated to call the lightning. Freya sang softly, a lament older than the world. Her tears turned to golden drops upon the sea. And somewhere deep within the endless ice, Fenrir, the wolf bound by chains of deceit, stirred and smiled. For the gods had begun to dream of their own ending, and dreams once spoken cannot be undone. The sky had always been the voice of the gods, thunder their language, lightning their truth. But now the heavens trembled not with command, but with grief. The stars dimmed one by one, like eyes closing against the sight of what was coming. Across the Bifrost, the rainbow bridge, cracks began to bloom like frozen flowers. Each fracture sang with the memory of a god's promise broken. Heimdall stood guard, his horn, Gjallarhorn, resting against his chest. He could hear it already, the sound before the sound, the breath before the call. The end was waiting for him to begin it. Far below, in the mists of Midgard, mortals dreamed uneasy dreams. They saw skies aflame, oceans swallowing mountains, and a serpent vast enough to circle the world, its breath stirring storms, its eyes reflecting eternity. Jormungandr had begun to wake. In the halls of hell, the dead stirred restlessly. Not even death, it seemed, would sleep through this day. And somewhere beyond sight, Loki smiled through the cracks of his chains, his laughter like glass breaking beneath water. He did not hate the gods. He only wished to see them remember what it felt like to fear. As the dawn bled red across Asgard's edge, the first sound of Ragnarök began. Not thunder, not battle, but silence breaking into song. Deep beneath the roots of Yggdrasil, where the earth met shadow and time forgot to breathe, a spark opened its eyes. It had slept through ages, through creation's bloom and the laughter of gods. But now it stirred, for it remembered its name, Searcher. The fire giant rose from the heart of Muspelheim, his body a horizon of flame. Every step he took burned the memory of what had been. Every breath turned stars to ash. He did not rage. He simply fulfilled what was written before words. For fire does not hate what it consumes. It only knows how to end. The skies above Asgard turned crimson, as if the sun itself had chosen to bleed. The gods gathered their weapons, their eyes reflecting both valor and sorrow. Thor lifted Mjolnir. The hammer hummed like thunder's first heartbeat. Beside him, Tyr whispered a prayer not for victory, but for meaning. Odin watched the horizon burn, and for a moment he thought he saw himself in the flames, a reflection of all that had been built upon inevitability. The fire climbed, and the tree of the world trembled. The serpent stirred in the sea, the wolf strained at his chains, and the gods, for all their glory, could not unwrite the story they had once told. For Ragnarök was not vengeance. It was memory returning to its source. The air split apart. From the heart of Muspelheim came flame. From the sea came storm. And between them, the gods stood, neither mortal nor eternal, but something trembling between memory and end. The sky had turned the color of forgotten blood. Clouds burned like torn banners. Bifrost shattered in a chorus of glass and thunder, its pieces falling like dying rainbows upon the fields of Vigrid. There, destiny gathered all who had ever defied it. Thor faced the serpent, its coils spanning the horizon, its eyes wide with the silence of oceans unending. Each swing of Mjolnir broke the air like the world's final heartbeat. Across the field, Odin met Fenrir, the wolf whose shadow devoured dawn. The All-Father's spear gleamed once more, and for a moment the sky paused, as if waiting to see which would fall first, the god or the hunger that birthed him. The ground wept rivers of fire. Gods and giants moved like storms through the ash, their cries swallowed by the roar of a world unmaking itself. And above it all, Heimdall raised the Gjallarhorn again, the sound no longer a warning, but a requiem. Even those who could not hear it felt it within their bones. The song that said, "All things that begin must remember how to end." The battlefield had fallen silent, not from peace, but from exhaustion. Smoke coiled through the air like ghosts that refused to leave. Odin lay beneath the broken sky, his spear shattered beside him, and Fenrir, the devourer, dissolved into dust. The wolf's shadow melted into the soil, leaving behind nothing but the scent of endings. Thor stood amidst fire and ruin, the serpent's body curling lifelessly through the horizon. He had slain the beast, but venom burned in his lungs, and each breath came slower, heavier, until he sank to his knees beneath the dimming light. The world tree shuddered, its branches cracked like thunder, shedding leaves that glowed briefly before fading into ash. Frigg wept, not for what was lost, but for what would be remembered. The gods, one by one, turned to the horizon as if hearing something, a whisper moving through the dying wind, the echo of the first dawn. And then they exhaled. It was not surrender. It was the return of breath to creation. The last wind of the gods spread across the ruins, carrying seeds of what might be again. In that moment the universe inhaled, and remembered how to dream. From the silence, something stirred. Not a sound, not yet, but a vibration, a memory echoing through the bones of what remained. The fire had cooled to embers. The ocean lay still as glass, and the great ash Yggdrasil, though broken, still pulsed faintly with life. From its roots, water trickled once more. Tiny shoots of green pushed through the ash, fragile, trembling, but defiant. A child was born in that lightless dawn. No god, no giant, but human, the first dreamer of the new world. They opened their eyes to the smoke-stained sky and saw a single star, the first to return. It blinked, as if remembering itself, and the universe exhaled. The gods were gone, but their echoes lived within wind and stone, in the rhythm of waves, in the warmth of fire. They had become the quiet pulse of existence, the dream that sustains all dreams. And far beyond the horizon, a whisper rose again. All that dies returns. The star flickered brighter, and the world began once more. Thank you for listening to Sleep with Myth. Close your eyes, and remember, the story never truly ends.